I'm not just immortal. I'm untouchable! Seriously though, I have no idea how that didn't hit me, so I'm just going to assume that I have transcended damage now. Hello, my fellow hunters, and welcome to Title Update 2, Immortality! And, well, it's an interesting one. I'll be honest, I was kind of on the fence about even doing this update, but I think when I say the word update, it makes a lot of sense, because so many people, every single time there is an update to Monster Hunter, want an update from me on Immortality. And I totally get why, it's the single greatest creation ever in Monster Hunter, obviously. No, but it is fun and deeply satisfying to be literally unkillable, uncartable to even the most hardest hitting, challenging monsters in the game. Never needing to heal, or feel threatened, or worry even once. Just hit the thing and pretend your health bar is infinite, because I'll be honest, it kind of is. And it's not even like you have to give up a crazy amount of speed. This is obviously an 8-star, 5-star tempered Lagiacrus, and well, it was like a 12-minute finish. Obviously, you've got underwater, and I full killed him here. If I'd have captured it, it probably would have ended up under the 10-minute mark, which, let's be honest, for literally never having to heal the entire hunt, is pretty darn cool. As is this literal 5 minutes of me being AFK, and by AFK I mean I'm obviously sat here watching it, I'm just not pressing any buttons involved in dodging or surviving against, again, 8-star, 5-star tempered Lagiacrus, and he gets so bored and exhausted trying to kill me that he just gives up and leaves.
Really, I've not been in Monster Hunter for like 7 years, and I'm not even allowed to kill one hunter who's not fighting back. This is an absolute outrage. I mean, seriously, I'm complete.
So if you're here to check how the Immortal build is getting on against the two new title update monsters and their ridiculously punishing hardest forms, and yes, that includes Seregios, who also simply cannot kill the build even if you just stand there, though I will say for him you have to have bleed resistance level 3 built in, because otherwise you will get bled, which stops your natural recovery, which actually makes Seregios a unique counter to AFK Immortality. It doesn't matter to, hunting, playing normally with the build on, but for AFK-ness, hey, that's nice, go Seregios. In any case, then, yeah, it's still fantastically effective, and it still is just so amusing to see some ridiculously potent attacks that can one-shot people in normal builds, just sort of not do anything and have half the damage instantly healed back to begin with. And if you don't know how that's happening, I will go over it again here. But if you're also here to see if there's any improvements to the Immortal build based on what Title Update 2 has given us, the 4 new talismans, the 2 new armor sets, the new weapons, that's maybe a more anticlimactic answer I have to give you. To put it in 2 broad strokes, when looking at the Immortal build, you can ask the question, is the Immortal build better? And then you can also ask the question, is the Immortal build more immortal? And those 2 things aren't always the same. If you could, for example, drop 1 rank of recovery up and gain like full agitator and adrenaline rush, that would make it a better build because you'd still be unkillable but do a lot more damage. But it would technically be less immortal by definition because it's 1 less rank of one of the immortal skills. So with that in mind, let's get into this, starting then with the weapons. The high Lagia blade then, or your weapons equivalent, the Lagiacrus stuff. The Seregios weapons have nothing to offer for Immortal, but these ones do. They're really solid by themselves, really top tier non-Artian options, close to Artian. In certain element matchups, like dual blades will use your Thunder, Lagiacrus blades over Artian against against Thunder weak monsters like Seregios, which is really cool to see, a little bit of the Artian dominance loosening, if only a smidge, but in Immortal, that convert Thunder resistance is really exciting because you have a lot of Thunder resistance from the Immortal set, which means you get a lot of Thunder element. 24 Thunder resist we sit at here, and that takes us to 670 bloated, which is a really decent gain. So if you're facing a Thunder weak monster, well, consider bringing the Lagiacrus weapon for your class of weapon of choice for that hunt, and you will do great in the Immortal build with it. And indeed, that's what you should always be doing with these builds. I say it every time, but they're not designed for any particular one of the 14 weapons. It works on all 14 of them. Some better and worse than others. Obviously, Greatsword is a particularly good Immortal weapon because shoulder tackle just adds to your damage reduction, but it works on everything, and you can use it on whatever your favorite stabber, basher, shooter happens to be. And also a special shout out to specifically the Lagiacrus hunting horn that is really, really good. It's got fantastic Immortal songs. The Thunder res just plays more into the Thunder element on it, and it's just a particularly good option if you are wanting to choose something specifically for Immortal out of the new weapons. And talking of hunting horn, Rathian, the Valkyrie chord maker. This should be now part of any given Immortal set. The reason being that recovery speed large song. So no matter what your weapon of choice is while you're being an unkillable immortal god, your secondary should always be the Queen Chordmaker with Sonorous slotted in. The reason for that is fairly simple. I did an entire video explaining and testing this, so I won't get too detailed here, but the Cliff Notes version is recovery speed. This skill makes your red health that you get when you take damage tick back up faster. Fairly straightforward. What the item Immunizer does is make your red health tick up faster when you take damage. What the Hunting Horn song Recovery Up does is the same thing. So if I just get hit real quick, you see there, we've got a load of red health, and it's kind of going up reasonably quickly because of my level 3 recovery speed. So let's now drink a Immunizer to add that to the mix, all well and good, and then we will swap to our Hunting Horn and play the song of choice, which is a simple green, red, and then purple. Play recovery large, and now we have all three: the skill, the item, and the song. And you can swap back to your actual weapon afterwards, and it will still last for 3 minutes, which is beautiful. These three effects stack, but they don't just stack, they stack multiplicatively, which looks a little something like this. Is that not absolutely ridiculous? This little combination essentially means you take 50% less damage for 3 minutes, and then you have to reapply it. That is wonderful, and is now a dear champion part of the Immortal setup. And as it's relevant then, well, this is kind of your base approach plan when you're hunting a monster. You will be approaching the zone the monster is in. Let's say that cart is the monster. You want to have yourself a mega armor skin for the extra little defense. You want to then throw yourself out a hard shell powder for even more defense. You then want to have an adamant seed for even more defense, and then you want to have your immunizer. After that, you can get the horn out actually on the Seikret now, which is really, really nice, which means you don't even have to faff around too much when it comes to playing the song and getting it ready. Then, once all those items are consumed, the song is played, you swap to your weapon of actual hunting choice, and you get in there, ready to go maximum immortal and feeling pretty damn fine. Oh, and of course, before before the hunt even begins, make sure you're having the correct food, which is the Kunafa Feast, so we get that lovely defense and elemental resist, on top of Defender Meal High for a second layer of Divine Blessing, always very crucial. So, that's all that kind of taken care of. How are we actually looking when it comes to a Title Update 2 update to the set? Well, we're sort of not. At least not with this one. See, what Title Update 2 has done is give us an alternative option, but it's not changed this core loadout, which is your 4-piece shia for that level 2 super recovery, and that's going to be really, really hard to replace. I am looking forward, though, to Title Update 3 and the new RNG talismans that can have all of the skills in the game, because that's going to open up some really cool Immortal possibilities, but for now, it's difficult, especially when this setup gives us the most perfect, beautiful lineup of Immortal skills I've ever seen in my life. That Divine Blessing, Recovery Up, Recovery Speed, and Defense Boost quartet that makes it sing! And then a little bit Elemental Absorption on top, just for kicks, while still fitting in 3 really core, potent defensive skills in Agitator, Counter-Strike, and Maximum Might. Decorated up like this, you can swap the Mighty Maximum Might decorations for something more relevant to your weapon if you're not a weapon that can use Maximum Might well or at all, and job is a good un. Now let's go to the alternate option brought to us by Title Update 2. Are you ready?
Behold! The Suja Waste is now Seregios!
Look, I mock myself, but I'll admit that I actually really do like these little tiny increases. They kind of make me happy. Getting that 5th rank of defense from the talisman, thanks to Archtempered right now, was genuinely monumental. So, yeah, the reason for this then is fairly straightforward. And if we decorate it up, you can see why. We have the exact same quartet of core immortalness and Divine Blessing, Recovery Up, Speed, and Defense Boost. We lose 3 ranks of Maximum Might, but what we gain is 1 3 slot that you can use for either Burst, or you can put an Adrenaline Rush in there, or whatever your weapon likes instead of Burst itself, but Burst is pretty universally great. And then you gain, and are you ready for this? Like 12 defense! Oh yes! Seriously, the Suja Sash option 473 base defense, and the Seregios one 484. It's 11 defense. So, this is why I said the question of is it technically more immortal? It is, because you've gained 11 defense, but is it better? Well, maybe not, because you lose 3 Maximum Might and only gain 1 rank of Burst or a different 3-slot skill in return. But, you know, it's still technically a thing, and I had to update you guys because so many of you were asking me, so here we are. Look. Okay, I update the Immortal build every title update for every Monster Hunter game. Sometimes it's earth-shattering, sometimes it's, look, it still does great against the newest, hardest monsters, but you're kinda not changing a whole lot about it. In any case, yeah, I find this quite fun, and one of the main reasons I find that quite fun, and it should be said, the reason it does have more defense is simply because Seregios armor obviously has more defense than the Suja armor, but the reason I like this is because now we're at 484, we're actually within range of 500, so if you really want to push it, you can put on something like the Doshagama Greatsword, which has 20 defense on it, which will take you over the 500 mark, which feels really, really good to see, and that's a lot of defense. You really, really barely take any damage, which is super cool. And also, technically speaking, this set is better if you are a weapon that doesn't like Maximum Might and doesn't have anything better to put in the 2 slots. Well, then this actually is just a gain because 1 rank of Burst is better than 3 2 slots you can't do anything with. So that should be mentioned. But yeah, there we have it, everybody. That's Title Update 2 when it comes to Immortal. Neither of the new monsters set bonuses do anything defensively, and that's kind of where we've ended up. But seriously though, look at our defense. 593, a lovely smattering of element resist, that's without elemental absorption active. I mean, it's no wonder we're so hard to cut, on top of, you know, the triple recovery speed multiplicative healing that makes any red health you have, well, not be there instantly. So, there we go. That is your title update to Immortal update. I hope you have enjoyed this at the very least, and I think very much look forward to title update 3, as it's going to shake everything up, not just Immortal, if these talismans work out. And actually, honestly, look forward to Archtempered Duna. The Duna set is something I really did mess around with for Immortality initially, because its set bonus is quite potent, and Archtempered might push it over the edge if we get some decent armor, so watch this space. In any case, like if you've enjoyed this, I wish you some glorious, unkillable, easy, smooth, immortal hunts that let you save on all of your healing potions. And for now, consider supporting the future of the channel on Patreon down below. And until we meet again, a goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.